ladies and gentlemen. We ain't done. The spirit of emancipation has reawakened to say the time has come to continue the pursuit for our freedom, to stop calling the symbol of our independence a broken trident when we sing our anthem. We raise voice to proclaim ourselves heritage guardians and fate's craftsmen, but of late, we seem to have forgotten. So when it comes to this transition, the court of public opinion seems decidedly factioned, de facto divided and fractured by factors that seem to find the pillars of democracy threatened in the case of the citizens and the republic. There are progressives and skeptics, and they flat out against it. The progressives already done reached them verdict. I'm just waiting to hear the sentence. The skeptics still trying to figure out how to sift through some of the evidence, and the last set got a whole set of different reasons. Wonder about the people advocating for this decision. Wonder if anybody can ever take the time to answer all them questions. Or if the litigators that pushed this task crossed the docket got the judge, the jury, and the executioner in their back pocket, and some people just ain't with it, because they prefer the comfort of the status quo to the uncertainty of change, and I get it. The absence of education breeds a proliferation of misinformation. You can't incline a mind to common sense if the ability to do it ain't exactly common, but when Barrow, the right excellent, fathered our independence in 1966, he added to the foundations laid by our ancestors from resistance and rebellion to emancipation, recognizing that the long walk to freedom had only just begun. That each successive victory won was merely a step towards a Barbados every one of us could be proud to say we come from. His vision. Friends of all, satellites of none, did not end with the realization of independence. That was just the beginning of the conversation. And somewhere along the lines of communication crossed and his message was lost in translation. Recall his frustration when he begged us, take a harder look at your reflection. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we ain't done. Look back and see how far we have come from 1979, when the first whispers of a republic were silenced by the findings of the Cox Commission. After the failings of the West Indies Federation shattered the confidence in our capacity for self-governance, and Barrow's radical version of independence had enough people upon the fence. But then, only about 20 years hence, after every governor general except the first one was actually a native born from Boat Hay, Beijing, the conversation kicked back up again. Even though the honors still came from a foreign sovereign, something about the local landscape had changed. So when the Ford Commission was named, their unanimous recommendation proclaimed the resurgence of faith in crafting our own fate to be a republic in nature as well as in name. Today, after successive governments have tried and failed to rekindle the flame, we finally raise the flag of a nation no longer clinging to colonial coattails for its identity. And maybe we've been so focused on searching for the problems that we do not recognize the opportunity that we have been given. The way shedding the vestiges of a monarchy means we get to denounce the moniker of Little England and vest the powers of the state in the hands of every Barbadian citizen. So we can't be done. In fact, we know got work to do. The baton that changed hands from Bussa to Barrow now get passed to me and you, and we owe it to our nation builders and the generations that follow us to make sure we contribute. We turning over a new page of history and starting a new chapter with the ability to self-pen what comes after. So when you look in the mirror, what is you want to see? Me? I'd like to see strict guardians of our heritage as a promise fulfilled. No more waiting till our infrastructure is run down and derelict to let it click that we gonna maintain these fields and hills. Let the capital city live up to the build of our spirit. I want an end to sanitizing history to make it more palatable for the sake of people who visit. An end to this tourist-based monocrop mentality where everything we produce as a country, we seem to export before we get a chance to really appreciate it. I want a Barbados that remembers that the wealth of this nation is dependent on the health of this and every generation, where the future of the voice that Kamau Brathwaite envisioned is ingrained in a self-reflective education system, one which arms students with the knowledge of the lengths and breadths of their lineage and gives them the tools to actually be upstanding citizens. I want equality of opportunity and representation, that every Barbadian can look to our national documentation and find an image of themselves reflected in its tenets. I want inclusive legislation that looks towards the humanness that from coast to coast binds our hearts and not the differences that would part us, a Barbados that stops talking about its potential and looks to start living it. One that actually enfranchises the youth and stops complaining about brain drain after pulling the plug on every one of the ideas. I want service over lip service and action over talk in the quest for more progress, and the list could probably go on, but this ain't just about me. In fact, it's not even about just the pieces, just the voices that contributed to this piece. It is about what it means for all of us when we say we are free, so that when we fly black, gold, and ultramarine, this new Barbados will not be defined by a severance of ties to the Queen, because our trident cannot have been a fragment at its inception. We started with an emblem not broken from someone else, just a symbol that we would have to finish ourselves. So look, ladies and gentlemen. We ain't done. Thank you.